Hi,
Hi,
I'm Charles.
I'm Mohad.
It's gonna be so freaking loud.
No, anything you say about what you want to do with your music sounds pretentious. You know, if you start saying you want to actually, you know,
We're not, let's put it this way, what we don't want to do with our music is make it political in any way. You know, obviously being on Constellation, you know, there's this whole ideology that the music is about the politics and the politics is really important. For us, you know, the politics is separate from the music completely. We make the music first and foremost to please ourselves because we need to make music because we're musicians, and really that's all we can do. You know, we're not.
but at the same time, it's not political. But there is a sense of like honesty in it, and there's a sense of like what's right and what's wrong. I mean, it's politics kind of gets all muddled about in that. It's like a kind of like a little eddy or something like that, where you're kind of on course about, you know, looking for like some kind of honesty and some kind of like sincerity in your life, and like genuinely exploring, you know, the world you live in, like with sounds. But then it starts to get caught up in sort of self-righteous, like good and bad, you know, like dogmas. You get sort of trapped by that kind of thing. So we're not particularly political in the capital P sense, you know, but we're definitely try to pursue a sense of like, you know, honesty in the music.
It just seems like Canada in general is getting out there. At least it's coming of age outside of Canada. It's no longer local. I mean, even yesterday when we were at the Bowery, we were looking at their monthly, you know, show listing, and there's like 5 Canadian bands playing there this month. You know, that's most of them from Toronto, 1 or 2 of them from Montreal.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just I don't know what it is. Maybe.
Well, I think a few years ago, like there was sort of a switch when suddenly like people kind of became supportive of each other, you know? And, like there was, in the 90s and stuff, there was always a kind of a sense of rivalry, you know, which was a little bit unhealthy maybe in bands. Like it was kind of fun to say, you know, our band's the best and blah, 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 whatever. But there was some sort of mental shift that happened. Maybe it was just me, but maybe it was, you know, a lot of people, but just started to say, hey, there's some really great music here. Never mind what's on the radio, never mind what's like in the newspapers. Just go out and see bands, you know? And that sort of spread, and there were a few key people who put together like rotating music nights that always had good bands. It's this a show called Wavelength, which is on every Sunday, and they always have amazing bands coming. You never know if it's not necessarily good bands, but always worthwhile, you know, and things like that. They're sort of a real community kind of grew out of it that way, a sense of like support.
I mean, I'm just guessing. I'm just taking a guess, but I would think that label like Constellation helped. I mean, before them, I don't think there was like a real good independent Canadian label that everybody like people outside of Canada really took interest. I think they were one of the first ones that kind of piqued the interest of the UK and Europe and in America. They were the first ones, and you know, Three Gut and now Arts and Crafts. There's a few good labels out there that are really promoting good Canadian bands, and I think once one starts and they pique the interest, then people are already looking in that direction. And once they're looking in that direction, there was a lot there to come up to the top. But it just took those, you know, one or two bands, one or two labels to just get everybody's heads turned in that direction. And once they did, they discovered that there's a lot to see.
Maybe in a way it's a good thing people are buying less music, because then
Music's got to be
you're-
better.
Yeah, well, music, not just music has got to be better, but people stop trying to make money at it. It's like, you know, like there's less bands like, oh, we're really going to make it. We're going to be like,
The sincere ones are the only
No.
ones left standing, because the other ones,
yeah, it's like if you love
Maybe.
making music, then you can't lose. So you're like,
Yeah.
you play with your friends in front of 5 people, and you love it, and you have a great time because you don't have any delusion that you're going to be a rock star someday. So
Yeah.
like, so I think sort of eliminating the avenues to some extent
yeah.
has actually opened up a whole lot of like sincerity.
That might be
Going
why
back to that.
indie music is like, it's no longer really indie music. I think it's kind of jumped up a level, and I think it's because, you know, the indie scene has been more adaptable to the whole, or not as hit hard like the major labels by this whole downloading. In fact, I think they take advantage of the fact that there are now people that are having access to the music, paying for it or not. They have
Right.
access to
Not
it. They
dependent
learn
on
who these bands are.
distribution.
Yeah, exactly. And then they go out and see them when these bands hit the road.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's a very exciting time for music. Actually, it's a really good.
There's a lot
positive
of
situation.
bands. Every time you open a paper, every time you hit a city, the list just goes on and on and on. And it's, you can look at it in the form of competition, and
I've always kind of felt like we're at the peak of our career. Like every time we do anything, you know, it's like when we're playing in front of our friends, or like the whole process has just been like, okay, this is as good as it's gonna get. Like we're doing our second full U.S. tour right now, and it's like it's really great. Like we sold out the Bowery Ballroom yesterday, and it was just like, wow, this is it. You know, there's always a sense of like success all the way along from the beginning. It's not like you're, you know, if you don't make it, then you've wasted your time. There's none of that, you know. It's
and I think it also it's relative to what what you're looking for and why you're in it to begin with. And I think because we started from a position of making records in our basement, the idea that we moved on to just playing in front of people, or the idea that we just got signed at every stage, it was like, oh wow, this is great. And also being an instrumental band, we knew from the get-go that our motives couldn't be commercial because there isn't a commercial outlet for our kind of...
Low
There is.
expectations. in
Yeah,
terms
low
of, like,
expectations,
financial
exactly.
and
Our
audience
expectations
support.
were pretty low commercially speaking, which means that for us, it was just getting better and better.
Yeah.
So, and I guess that's success. Financially, no, I don't think there are very few people making money, and I think it's really important because sometimes you talk to people, they just have a misconception about the finances involved in making music.
Bands don't make money.
Bands do not make money unless they're at a level that I don't know. At this point in time, we're 4 records deep, so just the fact that you call us an instrumental band, the next thing for us might be to tear down that wall and actually sing. Yeah. So, in that sense, we don't want to make the same record we just made. I don't think any band does, you know.
No, it's. I mean, there's no fun. You want to explore different, styles, and you know what you can do, and why do it again? So
plus, our record collections are so much deeper than the kind of records we make. You know, what people hear as our band is a small little spectrum of what we as musicians listen to. Our record collections include many records that are well outside of the scope of the kind of music we make. And for us, there's a lot we can still draw from that we haven't, and a lot we can still explore musically that would pretty dramatically alter what people think we're about. It's not like we have, but...
Yeah, the only thing that kind of keeps it, do make say things, is that everybody's involved, is that eventually somebody's going to say, well, I don't like that, or I don't like that, or I don't like that. And it's always going to kind of fall within a certain realm, It's always going to stay, nobody's going to say, I think we should do a barbershop record, know? And everybody else is going to go along with it, I think it's always going to have a certain, personality of its own, but it's not by design as much as by accident.
Yeah.
Well, maybe people think we're very political.
Yeah, that might be.
Because Constellation Records is a very political label.
But we are political. There's a different. We're political in the sense that we do have concepts, and we know what's going on in the world, and we'll have discussions based on current politics. But we really do have a barrier between our political beliefs and injecting that into our music, or using our music as a platform to make speeches. Not that we have anything against that. Bands can do that, and that's fine. But I think for me, music has got to be a little purer, and politics are about the day, and they're really not about the notes you're making. If you choose to use your music as a platform, if you get a voice because you become, if your music allows you to speak to people because you now have an audience, and you choose to use that as a platform for your politics, that's fine. We don't do that. I don't have anything against bands that do.
You could say like our second record, Goodbye Enemy Airship, The Landlord is Dead, has a definite political ring to it.
Yeah.
that's more a personal situation actually than it is. I mean, it is a political statement, but it had a very personal like connection to us, and that was some graffiti that was outside of our house as we were being in battle with our landlord, and there was some like there was a definite personal attachment to it. It wasn't just a conceptual political ideal or anything like that. Like every time you tour, it's some band you never heard of plays with you, and they just blow your mind. You know, it's just like wow, like that's really amazing. We gotta like top that. You know, or we gotta do something. Like there's always like
and time is a big one too. If you time away from making music, time away from the people you make music with, always brings back the hunger to create again and to get together and do something again. That's a big one. But other bands, like you said, touring is one of the few times where you will luck into a good opener or something you might not otherwise have caught.
But also, you know, like it's really hard to say. Like life changes, you know, everything changes. Like different. Like the weather can affect the notes you're playing, you know? You can't really put your finger on it a lot of the time. Like when we did the most recent record, it had a real winter flavor to it, we thought, because we recorded it over 6 months of the winter, and we were really like, had that, and it was like, the season seemed to like, kind of felt like it could seep into the music a little bit, you know? And so you can't really assign credit too easily as to what's inspiring you. It's like when you actually pick up your guitar or your bass and you start playing, like what's pushing your fingers around, you don't know. Like it's just kind of, there's a certain mystery to it, you know?
Indie rock kids are indie rock kids, whether they're in Canada, the kids, you know, it's the type of audience that we tend to see are pretty similar all across the board, whether you're in Sweden or whether you're in, you know, some, it's
People,
it's
yeah,
actually kind
like
of funny
people are the same everywhere you go. You know, everybody.
That's the one thing that you notice, or at least the ones that come to your show that like your music. They tend to really be not exactly from the same mold, but there's
no. It
definitely
kind of makes you think that the whole idea of countries is a bit of a myth to begin with, you know, like, because everywhere you go, people are the same.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they don't speak your language, maybe
Yeah.
they have an accent, maybe whatever, but they all get excited about the same things, and they all have
Yeah.
the same sort of,
Yeah.
loves of different, like, parts of
Exactly.
life, and it's really, the whole idea of a nation as one unified thing is kind of bogus. Like, everybody is the same, and everybody is unique at the same time. So.
Yeah. But the music definitely draws from a well of personality, and that definitely crosses the line of borders. So, and I'm sure, you know, other styles of music bring out that type of person all over the world too. So it just shows you that people are aligned more on different kinds of values than they are to different kinds of leaderships, you know, or borders. So.